You just got back home. You've been out of town for a long time. There's a family reunion waiting for you to welcome you home. You walk in, and after about 20-30 minutes, your favorite aunt walks up to you, and she pummels you. She starts to thrash you. And after you get your bearing again, you look at her and go, "What's going on?" She says, "Well, I'm punishing you for that time you spilt milk and broke my favorite cup when you were 3 years old." Make any sense? What could you possibly hope to learn? Well, that's exactly how most people perceive reincarnation. That not only are you accountable for everything you've done right and wrong this lifetime, but there's some way, some mechanism that tracks your good and bad doings across multiple lifetimes. It doesn't work that way. In this video, I'm going to share with you just how simple reincarnation is as a mechanism for your spiritual growth, development, and evolution. Hi, I'm T.S. Hall, the Stoic Medium, and I train old souls, empaths, and highly sensitive people how to develop their psychic and healing abilities, and by so doing, learn the language of spirit, learn the language of vibrations, of energy, so they can find spiritual solutions to their life problems and start to thrive. If you're new here, welcome. We're glad you found us. Yet not at all surprised. Please consider joining our YouTube community of like minds and kindred spirits by subscribing to this channel. And together, we will walk individual paths towards spiritual perfection. Again, welcome. Think back to the first time you heard about reincarnation. It felt right, didn't it? It rang true. If it didn't, you probably wouldn't be here watching this video. What I want to share with you today is a high-level overview of reincarnation, how it works, how it affects your current life, and more importantly, where it fits in your spiritual evolution and growth practices. The best way for me to explain how reincarnation works is to have you imagine you're on spirit side. And when you're on spirit side, you have a bird's eye view or a spirit's eye view of how the universe works without any distractions of the physical body. The best way to imagine this is that you have this beautiful 10,000 piece picture puzzle. And in the box are all the individual pieces to put that puzzle together. The outside of the box is the picture you're going to recreate. And as you begin your spiritual evolution, you go through the process of finding and filling in the pieces of the puzzle, and then adding them in your own time, at your own pace, because you want to complete the puzzle. And if you've ever done a picture puzzle, getting those things complete has a special kind of weird attraction to them, a satisfaction to them, a sense of fulfillment and reward to them. So you're on spirit side and you're putting together this picture puzzle, and you're trying to find all the pieces. And as you're flipping them over and you're making sure they're all, the picture side up, and you've got all the corners grouped together, and you kind of got all the different colors grouped together, and you've got the straight edges grouped together, and a couple of pieces are already fit in place, you're looking for one particular piece and you can't find it. And it's not unlike, you're doing the picture puzzle at home and a piece is on the floor and you can't find it, and you kind of have to go crawling on the floor to find it. So that's when we incarnate into the physical body, because there's something we can't find, understand, or comprehend purely by being spiritual beings. We have to have the physical interaction, the physical experience. So we reincarnate to find the pictures of the puzzle. Some of us call those lessons. And usually there's 2, 3, 4 lessons that we come to a lifetime to experience. And once we experience, we get back on spirit side, and there's that piece and it goes right here. There's that piece that goes right here. And based on how we fill in these pieces, we begin to find other pieces more easily until we lose the next piece and we have to come on this side to reincarnate to have that experience. So that's the overall analogy of reincarnation. Reincarnation is a spiritual growth tool. It's a mechanism for spirit evolution. It is the spiritual equivalent of physical evolution. Your reincarnation began when you were a very simple creature, an animal. So we've evolved and reincarnated through the main line of evolution. And as we become ever more complex beings, I call this the spiritual gestation period, where basically our spirit learns how to operate and manage ever more complex central nervous systems and capabilities of our brain. Eventually, we graduate from primates and we incarnate into a human body. So we're born into human consciousness, complete awareness of self, as distinct from others. We're capable of creating and managing abstract thought, language, and symbolic learning. That's when we began our path as human beings. That's the overview of reincarnation. Let's look at some particulars. First, you're the one who picks and chooses the bodies you incarnate into and to learn the lessons you choose or find the pieces of the puzzle you want to find. Second, there is no backsliding on reincarnation. So if I'm a human being with a human brain and I know how to use thumbs and I know how to articulate and I know how to abstract thought, what benefit would it be to have me reincarnate as a cow to be punished for some imagined crime? Remember walking into the family reunion and being punished for something you did 20, 30, 40 years ago. What would you learn? And remember, spirituality is quite simple. Everything within a spiritual context is very, very simple. Only the human mind complicates it. So you picked your body, you picked the lifetime, you picked the lessons, and there's no backsliding. You're pulled towards perfection. That's pretty much it with reincarnation. Now, in our next lesson, we're going to talk about karma. And many times, reincarnation is seen as the vehicle to enforce karma. We'll look at that next week. But for now, let's just say that you know everything there is to know about reincarnation. You pick the lessons, you pick the body, you have the experiences, and when you get back on the spirit side, you see whether or not you found the pieces you were looking for. Sometimes you find pieces you weren't looking for. Other times you find exactly what you were looking for. Regardless of the result, you have a better understanding and comprehension of exactly your place in the universe, and more importantly, your next steps towards nirvana, individual spiritual perfection. As I mentioned, next week we'll talk about karma, and karma is where a lot of the mischief is put into place around reincarnation. If you found this spiritual lesson useful, give us a thumbs up. It lets us know that we're providing content that you're interested in. It also lets YouTube know that you found it useful, but more importantly, other old souls, empaths, and highly sensitive people will know that you found it useful. Again, consider joining our YouTube community of like minds and kindred spirits. Become part of the Spirit360 Fellowship of like minds and kindred spirits, where with that connection, we know that we're not alone. To experience for yourself the Spirit360 Fellowship community, join us during a live Zoom service. We offer them at 7:30 and 10:30 a.m. Pacific times each Sunday. To get your invite, go to spirit360.org, click the Get Your Invite button, and we will email you instructions on how to join us live via Zoom. And until we connect again, I will leave you with this one koan. And the koan is, spiritual is as spiritual does.